Hey everybody, it's me, Erin and Elyse. You've probably been wondering where I've been the last month. The last month has been really hard. Yeah, Pippin. The last month has been really hard and really crappy. Not with me and Adam. We are fine. Let me tell you that first and foremost. He has been my rock through all of this, as he's always been. So we're fine. It's just a lot of other things. So, family's been going through a rough time. I've spent almost the majority of the month in Georgia, but I have been dealing with a lot of dumb adult things. And these videos are a way for me to have fun, right? I bounce around and act silly in an apron and act immature a lot. So I just didn't have it in me with so much stressful, hard things going on and pretty much every other aspect of life. I didn't have it in me to bounce around and act silly. It would have been fake. I would have been putting it on, and I just can't do that. Thank you to everybody that's reached out via social media, checking in and just letting me know that y'all are out there and you care. I really do see all of your messages and it means a lot. Hopefully things are going to be starting to get better now. I'm glad to be, sort of back into a normal routine. So let's just go on and make some cookies. That's what I'm making today.
Now return to your regular programming.
It is the first weekend of November. How crazy is that? We are full on into fall now, and I am just so happy. I freaking love Halloween. I love changing leaves. I love soup, chili, pumpkin things, except for pumpkin spice lattes.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I've been actually perusing Pinterest for recipes, because sometimes I feel like I make the same thing all the time. And I actually came across a pumpkin chocolate chip cookie recipe. And I was like, hey, I want to try that out. It also did not require that I buy too many ingredients. I had most of it on hand. So I was like, winner, winner. Let's get started making some pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. Grab an apron, everybody. Ooh, that's squeaky. Look at this, you guys. I'm wearing long pants, a baggy sweater, like full on in the fall, you guys. Oh yeah, bounce. So this recipe has like 3 mixing steps. From what I gather, you mix in the wet stuff, the dry stuff, and then you mix it together, and then you fold in the chocolate chips. So let's get started mixing. First step in our mixing agenda, I guess. I don't think that's the appropriate word. We're gonna mix all the wet stuff, we're going to mix all of the wet stuff first. Things you need: half a cup of vegetable or canola oil, 1 cup of sugar. Here's the fun part. I mean, there's a lot of fun parts because it's cookies, but this is the part I'm excited about. You need a cup of pure pumpkin. Not pumpkin pie filling, but just plain old, like, mushy pumpkin. So one cup of that. 1 egg. Eggs knots. Try it on your wiener. And some vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Mix all that together. Our next step, in a separate bowl, not in with your pumpkin stuff just yet, is you're gonna mix together a teaspoon of milk, a teaspoon of baking soda. You'll use baking powder later. Where to put it? Stir that in your little bowl. I've never done this before in a recipe. Once you mix together your little bit of milk and baking soda, dump it into your pumpkin mixture. Give that a stir. Now we're gonna mix up all the dry stuff. First, in our dry ingredients, 2 cups of flour. Then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Friggin' love cinnamon, you guys. Now's when we are going to grab our baking powder and we're gonna add 2 teaspoons to all our dry stuff. Our last dry ingredient is a half a teaspoon of salt. Just gonna eyeball it. Now we're gonna stir all that together. Now we're gonna dump the dry stuff into the wet stuff very carefully as to not create a flour cloud and puff up into my face. Gently dump it in. Get a little bit with your finger.
Okay, now, dig in.
The last thing we're gonna mix in is our chocolate chips. 2 cups to be exact. I'm using just the semi-sweet chips. It's important to taste a couple before. 1 cup, 2 cups. And we're going to fold it in. Once you have mixed in all your things, the next thing you're supposed to do is let it sit for 15 minutes before you scoop it into little cookie balls on a cookie sheet. We're gonna let it sit for 15 minutes and then we're gonna come back and scoop it all into cookie shape. What's that? Like it could fly. Alright, our cookie dough has been sitting for 15 minutes. I think it has like firmed up a little bit. I'm now going to be scooping it onto a cookie sheet with my grandma's ice cream scooper. I do not have a cookie dough scoop. If you have one, that would be great for this. The recipe says if you use like a 1 tablespoon size cookie scoop, it yields about 3 dozen cookies. This is probably closer to like 2 tablespoons, so I'm gonna have some hefty size cookies. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees, so that'll be getting all toasty warm while you start scooping. Hopefully this doesn't stick to my ice cream scoop. If you're like me and you don't have a fancy cookie scoop, this is what I'm doing. I kinda pushed it in there, whatever was hanging out. Look, I didn't even have to do this, it fell out. Isn't that precious? See how it's like, so just kinda, just keep scooping. Oh no, I got some on my finger, I guess I have to lick it off. So I'm gonna keep scooping on my cookies because this may take a while. But I'll check back in with you before we put them in the oven and we'll look at them all on the baking sheet. Look, cookie dough balls. Trying to keep from eating all the cookie dough. I'm gonna place this in my 350 degree oven. I still have probably just as much cookie dough left in the bowl, so I may save that. I don't know, I may look into seeing if it freezes well or if I can keep it in the fridge and maybe bake it in a couple days after these are gone. Anyways, I'm gonna start with this batch. The recipe says give it 10 to 12 minutes, but because mine are larger than what the recipe's cookies were, they're probably gonna take a little bit longer. So just keep an eye on your cookies, check on them after like 10-ish minutes. We're gonna let them do the thing and then check back in once it's time to pull them out. Ta-da! Cookies. I'm also heating up our leftovers for supper. So look at us being productive. I want to put one on a plate. Cookies, taste tester. Do you want to try one?
Do I want to try one? Yes. Yes, I do. They smell really good.
Are you surprised?
No, I love pumpkin. So what are you expecting?
I'm a little curious to see how cinnamon and pumpkin flavor is going to go with chocolate.
There's a lot of little chocolate in here. Look at that. Look how many chocolate little chips there are on that. Oh my gosh. This is...
They're super fluffy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good cookie. Mmm. Yeah. Yeah, they're light, they're fluffy, they're not too like spicy, but they're not too chocolatey. I'm gonna spoil my supper.
No. This is what I think it tastes like. A muffin.
Yes, it tastes like a chocolate chip muffin, but with
chocolate
like
chip
a little
muffin.
more spices to them.
Cinnamony, pumpkin-y flavors, but it's like a muffin top. Like if you pulled the top off of a chocolate chip muffin.
That's exactly what that taste is. That's why I love it so much. I would always eat the top off of the muffins and then sort of pick out the insides until I got too full, which
Yeah.
would never happen. I would just finish it. So if you like the tops of chocolate chip muffins, make these because it's basically what they do. Like that episode of Seinfeld where they just chop off the top of the
Yeah.
muffins and then throw away the
Doesn't
bottoms.
like Starbucks or somebody?
I didn't touch it.
There's more cookies in the oven. I decided to bake the rest of them. Oh, what was I saying? I think Starbucks or somebody actually sells just muffin tops.
It's a smart idea. They're good. Good job, love.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Good
Make
job.
those. Come on,
Internet
Noodle.
recipe.
Well, little fall sweater. Hi. Good job, love.
Thanks. I'm on board with these cookies. Alright, so that's how you make pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. If you end up trying out this recipe, comment in the underpants below and tell me what you thought. If you liked it or maybe if you didn't. Thanks again to everybody that sent me really sweet messages. Appreciate everybody hanging in there for me. I'm really happy to be back in the kitchen, bouncing around. And yeah, I'll see you next time on another episode of Erin's Eats. Bye.